We're here. I think we made it, my guy.
Yeah.
Hey. The inmates running the asylum once again. That's what happens when the general and the colonel steps out. Folks, welcome to another episode of the Super Gamer Boys podcast, where we talk about all things that have happened. Normally it would be, well, I guess usually it'd be in the last week or so, but ever since we switched to bi-weekly, it's been a little bit more of a gap than that. I am your host for this evening, resident superstar, king of games, Pocket Poppy. I'm known by many a name around the world, and Mr. Adrian Holmes. And here with me in the virtual studio is our guest of honor, the man behind countless background tracks for our episodes, DJ Trooz, Trouser Schnauzer. Good sir, thank you for coming on. We appreciate you. How are you?
Of course. I'm doing pretty good, man. Good to be here.
Yeah. Glad to have you aboard. Looking forward to chatting with you tonight about all things games. I think it's going to be a pretty interesting episode, especially with the news that we got.
Yeah.
Speaking of, today we're going to be talking about the megaton announcement that Gears of War is coming to PlayStation. Xbox is hiking their prices on everything. Shocker. And Nintendo is responding to some criticism that they've been getting about their games. And we'll get to that. But first, let's give a quick shout out to our Patreon sponsors and producers, Kajoma01, and our sponsors, Julie Bates, Mama Mare, and David Matthews. Normally, I'd say if you want to be awesome like those folks, go over to patreon.com/supergamerboys. But like, the word has gotten out, we are starting to wind down the main podcast. But your support is always welcome, whether it's, in monetary form on Patreon, if you want to do it while we're still here, or if you want to go to our website, supergamerboys.com, and purchase some merch. However you'd like to do that is totally fine. On our Patreon right now, we just put out the newest episode of Super Later Boys, where it's a podcast where me and Garrett, there is no format, not necessarily gaming centric. We just talk about whatever we want to, whatever's going on in our lives, so on and so forth. But you know what? I'll get a little bit more into that later. Shout out to Jack Sriracha, Yate, and the man himself who is here, DJ Trooz, for allowing us to use their music on our show. It's been a highlight being able to spotlight and support artists, in their endeavors. And all we can say is that we hope it's helped you out, specifically you as well, since you're here, in a way, helping people get connected with your work, and that's all we can really ask for.
I appreciate that a lot, man.
Of course. Okay, I think that's most of the hullabaloo, housekeeping, all that. So now we're going to jump into one of, if not my favorite segment, is the mailbag. And as always, our boy Ranger is carrying the lion's share of the mailbag. And this episode's letter from him is titled Ranger's Reluctance. And it reads, "Boys, I keep telling myself that this idea you both have to end the show is some kind of elaborate April Fool's prank that somehow soon will be revealed as a complete charade. I've lost too much sleep knowing that the Super Gamer Boys have strapped figurative explosives to themselves and are simply watching the countdown drain with such tranquility. I hope my form submission made it in time for the upcoming show. I've had some difficulties, and this is the latest I've ever submitted. My main difficulty as of late is Claire Obscure Expedition 33. Every time I sat down to submit my entry for the show, Expedition 33 kept calling me over to continue the story. This game has a hold on me, and I'm completely thrilled about it. What a strange mix of rich story, characters, great gameplay, and the music. Oh, the music. The environments are alluring and enchanting. This is a very impressive RPG, and I'm wondering, have you boys had any exposure as of yet?" Now, I can't say for you quite yet, but I have heard insane amounts about this game. I remember seeing it at the Xbox press conference, I think it was, when it first got revealed, and everybody was like, oh yeah, that looks kind of cool. And then everybody saw it was turn-based, and they're like, oh, turn-based, I don't want anything to do with turn-based. And then they actually got to play the game, and they're like, wait a minute, this actually rips really, really good. I've heard that people are putting it like in the realm of Baldur's Gate with like how good of an RPG it is. I can't say for sure. I know as a super old man turn-based RPG fan, I would probably love it. But you know, it'll be there when I'm ready for it, and I will get into it. And I still got Baldur's Gate to get through, so I got a ways to go. But how about yourself? Have you dove in, or have you heard anything about it? Or
I actually, when you brought that up, that when it was shown on the Xbox showcase, I guess a couple years back, it brought back memories. I was like, oh yeah, I forgot about that. But yeah, I've heard a lot, because like from friends that have been playing it, they've told me that the music artist was picked up off of SoundCloud, and I was like, wow, there's hope for me yet.
Dude, you don't understand how hard I'm not gonna say will pop off when your music is in a soundtrack for a game. That's gonna be the coolest thing. I'll be like, I know that guy. That's my friend. He's in a game. He made music for a game. It's gonna happen, man. And I'm gonna be rooting for you when it does.
One of these days for sure.
One of these days for sure, my man.
But yeah, the game looks like, from what I've seen, I haven't played it yet or really tried to look into too much, because I think it's one of those games you want to jump into fresh, you know?
Yep.
So I'm definitely trying to keep my scope limited, but it looks and sounds great from what I've heard, and yeah.
Fair. His next question is, I've heard people recently talk about the gaming palette cleansers. When you play one genre of a game, do you feel the need for your next game to be a completely different genre? For example, if you were playing a game like Claire, which is a turn-based RPG, would you prefer your next game to be a first-person shooter or a puzzle game, etc.? Some people have very strong opinions on this. I've never thought too much about it, but I would say I probably do bounce from genre to genre. Like, for example, he says he went from Shadows to Indiana Jones to Claire. So he says he guesses he falls into the palette cleanser category. What do you think? You think you have to switch genres every time? You think you'll get burnt out, or?
Well, recently I replayed Elden Ring and Shadow of the Earth Tree, then I jumped straight to Black Myth Wukong. So like it was continuing the hardness.
Right.
And I think I was kind of playing them at the same time too, a little bit. But yeah, as soon as that phase went away, I was like onto like Sonic the Hedgehog, Shadow Cross Generations, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And then I moved on to Dragon Ball Z's Sparking Zero. Like I do kind of switch it up, but I don't know if I land in the palette cleanser. It's kind of just me just always switching in general.
Playing what you want. I think I'm kind of the same way. I feel like if it's not necessarily about the type of game, it's about the quality of the game, right? It, like, for example, let's say I'm playing I don't know, Final Fantasy X, right? Everybody knows Final Fantasy X is a banger. So if you're gonna give me 3 games that are on that same caliber as Final Fantasy X, but they're all same genre as Final Fantasy X, but they're all that level of banger, I'm fine with that. I have no problem with playing 3 RPGs back to back. I just want them to be good games. Now, I think because of the kind of player that I am, I usually do tend to switch genres, but that's because I have an affinity for so many different kinds of games, and the way that games come out, it's usually that no 2 genres of games usually coincide that often, except for maybe like shooters, you know, like Call of Duty will come out at the same time as Battlefield or something like that. But most games that, you know, me or people in my circle will play would usually be different genres. So I just get the palette cleanser automatically. It's not necessarily that I'm seeking it out. So I guess we're kind of the same in that regard.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, no shame to people who feel like they have to switch genres. I get it, because a lot of times games could be, you know, a lot on you, and you know, people, they just need something different from time to time. But yeah, I can take it either way. And his last,
some people go with some people go with like simulator games to like turn your brain off too. That's another really good one to do.
Absolutely, man. Power Wash Simulator was my game of the year last year.
I was doing Card Shop Simulator.
I'm not mad at you. I wanted to play. Have you seen that supermarket one?
I have. That one looked kind of cool.
Yeah, where you get to like order the products and stock it and make your prices and like get people to run the register, or you run the register. I'm like, that's how I know like I'm a weirdo gamer, because that sounds so fun to me. Like, I couldn't stand working at a grocery store in real life, or like, I guess, you know, working retail in real life, but like for some reason put it in game form, I'm all there. When do I clock in? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I feel that. That's what I got with Schedule 1, but that's completely different from shopping at the grocery store.
Ranger's last part of his question says, I'm watching season 2 of The Last of Us. A discussion I had with a buddy of mine recently suggested that if season 3 ended with the completion of Last of Us 2, how would you feel if they continued season 4 with what happened after the story of The Last of Us 2? This, of course, is with the idea that they decide to never make another Last of Us game. I can tell you off rip, I do not want that. I don't want them to go off script of anything that Naughty Dog has as of right now, because that's just, it's too high of a risk for that to pay off. I mean, we got our like lucky like lightning in a bottle episodes, like the one with Bill and Frank, but to do an entire season like that with basically you're like making it up as you go, for every like Bill and Frank episode there's like season 8 of Game of Thrones, you know what I mean, where you just try to make it up as you go. One is really successful and one is just a dumpster fire, you know. Yeah, so I feel like it's too much of a risk.
Yeah, I've never consumed anything Last of Us, but I echo that sentiment in general for anything having to do with source material. Mm-hmm. You know, if it's not like a totally original concept in the movie, because you know you're gonna make some people mad and it kind of like leave bad taste in people's mouths, and it just ruins what otherwise would have been an amazing series. You know.
Right. No. Yeah. I'm right there with you. Yeah. I mean, Last of Us. Season 1 was phenomenal. I have not watched season 2 yet, but I've played both games, so I know, you know, the story, even with the deviations. I know pretty much the overarching plot line. I'm gonna get to it. I just gotta hunker down and watch. But yeah, I wouldn't want anything post Last of Us 2. Now, if Naughty Dog ever comes back to it and they want to do something later on, sure, let's go for it, but not until we have source material from the source. That's why they call it source material, you know what I mean? So yeah, that's where I'm at with that. And that concludes our mailbag. So now we are moving on. It is time for the nerdy nudes. Normally Garrett would say that and I would do the jingle, but I'll do both tonight, and I'll save you the agony or the it's not embarrassing. I love doing it. It's now time for the nerdy news. All right. So we got 3 stories for tonight that we mentioned before, and the first of which is kind of a megaton that was rumored before, but has now been confirmed. And honestly, like, we got sprinkles of it before, but now, like, this is going to be pretty interesting to see where not only what this will cause, but like where the industry is going. And that is Gears of War Reloaded is coming this summer, and it's coming to PlayStation with 4K resolution, 120 frames a second, and cross-play and cross-progression multiplayer. This article comes to us from IGN, and it's written by Rachel Weber. And it says, Microsoft just announced Gears of War Reloaded, a remaster of the original 2006 game that will launch on August 26th on Xbox, PC, and PlayStation. The shiny new version will come with improved visuals and audio, cross-play and cross-possession, and all the DLC progression, not possession, and all the DLC from Gears of War Ultimate Edition. Quote, as we approach the 20th anniversary, oh my god,
Oh, dang.
Fossil. I remember when this came out, dude.
Same.
Wow.
I was on Gears all the time back in the day.
Right. As we approach the 20th anniversary of Gears of War in 2026, we're reflecting on what this franchise means. It's about the stories we've told, the friendships we've built, and the unforgettable moments we've shared together. With Gears of War Reloaded, we're opening that door to more players than ever, said Mike Crump, the studio head at the Coalition. Not only do PlayStation owners get to play, the love can be shared across console barricades. Gears of War Reloaded is built for shared play, whether you're teaming up in split screen or jumping online. The campaign supports 2-player co-op and versus multiplayer up to 8 players. With crossplay across all platforms, you and your friends can squad up no matter where you play. No Microsoft account required. Wow, that's huge.
I like that. Unlike what Helldivers did.
Yeah, they goofed pretty hard doing that one. But yeah, man, this is massive. I mean, we've gotten, Xbox games that have come over to PlayStation, and we've even gotten, vice versa. MLB The Show came over to Xbox a couple years back, and I think I know a lot of people were like, I want one console that I have to buy that just gets everything, and people used to laugh those people out of the room. But real talk, they might have been onto something, because it sounds like that's where we're heading, is that there's going to be one box and then everybody's just going to make software for it, and then Nintendo's still going to be over here in the corner. But that sounds like what we're heading towards. I never thought I'd see the day where other Xbox exclusives, for sure, no problem, send them over there. But Gears and Halo and Forza are the big ones, and Forza's already over there. Now Gears is over there. There's only one IP that Xbox has left. Now that'll be really like the testament to, Xbox is going all out third party.
I'm the Halo guy, and I don't mind that at all. And I've been hearing rumblings of this for a while in the community, so I think it's pretty likely we're gonna get Halo MCC on PlayStation to go next.
Yeah, that would be massive, man. Like, you and I are part of the crowd of, and of course, looking back on it now, how immature and insane it was, right? Of like the console wars, that wave of, oh well, I got this on my system and this makes my system better, so on and so forth. Well, your system can't even play this game. And to see these same games that people fought so hard about, that they weren't getting paid to promote or at all, just like pure passion, I don't know, it's like inspiring, I guess, because it's almost like the studios care more about people playing the game than gatekeeping it from other groups.
Yeah.
I mean, granted, it's a larger pool to make money in, but I think console manufacturers or like publishers are getting over themselves and are realizing that, you know what? Maybe we should just have people play our game, not necessarily Xbox people or not necessarily PlayStation people. Let's just have people play the game. And if they want to get it here, they can get it here. And if not, we still get the money because they buy the game, And it's nice to see them come to that conclusion. And it only benefits everybody, because now everybody can play everything. Except for
sure.
A certain red company in the corner. But yeah, funny. Man, this is awesome. Like, did you think you'd ever see this? Like this level?
Ask me 5 years ago, nah. Yeah. 5 years ago, I would have never thought this. Like, this is, like, in retrospect, crazy. But in today's climate, It was very necessary in a way, I feel, because the whole climate's changed in gaming pretty much. You know, people are like opting for PC to play whatever they want. So it's in that sense, what people want is a system that can play everything.
Mm-hmm.
So now that they're doing it to consoles, it's a lot more affordable than building a PC, you know? So I think it was necessary.
Do you see PC as the way to go, like, or do you think everybody is going to move towards PC in the future? Because I can tell you right now, I have a PC and it's nice to have, and sure, it's, you know, my graphics card is pretty old. It's a 2070, right? But like, I only play like indie games, so it's more than enough for that. But like, I think as long as PC gaming is as expensive as it is, then it's still gonna be that like one barrier to entry that for most people. But on the other coin, or on the other side of the coin, is consoles are getting more expensive, right? PS5 Pro is $700.
Yeah.
You save another $300, you can get you a pretty little decent gaming rig, you know? So there's also the convenience factor. There's a lot going on, but I guess I say all that to say, do you foresee PC gaming? I mean, I know it's popular now, but like becoming the majority at some point in the future.
It's hard to say, because I have a couple of friends that I've talked to that prefer gaming on the couch. You know what I mean? Like, so just chilling, you know? So it's like they value that kind of relaxation, you know? Because when they're sitting at a desk, when they like probably do a desk job as it is, you know, it's going to get kind of monotonous in a way because you're still at a desk. So that's one thing I think people care about a lot, is their comfort and with their gaming. You know, it's a place where you escape.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how I see it for some people. But yeah, of course, the price too is like a hard barrier of entry. Like, some of these graphics cards are going for insane amounts, but
oh my god,
it's ridiculous. Like, scalpers be holding them and stuff for their Bitcoin mining.
Which is nuts. But, like, I have a 2070 right now, and I'm like, let me find an older card. So I was like, let me see what a 4070 is looking like right now. And it's not awful, but when I was looking at the 50s are like the new cards now, and just like the prices that people are like, you know, scalping on them essentially, it's nuts. And I feel like, I don't know, Nvidia and they don't care as long as they're selling them. And that, I feel like that's another barrier to entry, is you can't get the parts a lot of times because they get snatched up. So
yeah, my brother is always keeping an eye on the PC part stuff because he's big into building stuff. He was on wait lists and things like that, and he paid like, I don't know, he has a 4080 or something right now.
Mm-hmm.
I think that thing was like $800.
Did he get that at launch?
I think around launch, probably. It was just like really expensive. But I have a 3070 on me. I think that was like, I don't remember, 500 something. But yeah, they're getting way ridiculous. So that is definitely one of those barriers for sure. But in the future, who knows how things will turn out, you know?
That's true too. They could have a breakthrough where they're like, you know what, we can get this power and we can do it at a fraction of the cost. And then now you got Sony and Microsoft shaking in their boots. So, I mean, you never know, right? I didn't think that Gears would ever be on PlayStation. So I have learned not to set expectations for anything anymore, because now anything can happen. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how this shakes out. I hope PlayStation players give this game a shot, and, you know, give it an earnest shot and go out there, because Gears of War is an amazing series. And it deserves, I mean, it's a legendary series, but like, it deserves all the eyes it can get on it. So
yeah, for sure.
Hoping that shakes out for them. Moving on to our next story, I guess, kind of staying in the Xbox realm. Our next story is about Xbox itself and how they are also increasing their prices on their series or their series consoles and their games. in response to the government's tariffs that they've issued. And this comes to us from GameSpot by Evan Campbell, and it reads, Xbox price increases include $600 Series X console and $80 games. Microsoft has announced worldwide price increases for the Xbox lineup, including consoles, games, and even accessories. This means that Xbox Series X will now retail for $600, previously $500, and that select first-party titles will start going for $80 this holiday season. It's not just Xbox Series X either. The cheaper Series S 512GB system will now start at $380 when it was previously $300, meaning the entry price to this generation is more expensive than when it began in 2020. We understand that these changes are challenging, and they were made with careful consideration given market conditions and the rising cost of development. The Xbox support page says, revealing these price increases, looking ahead, we continue to focus on offering more ways to play more games across any screen and ensuring value for Xbox players. That is absolutely nuts.
They're in no position to do this right now.
Right. Outside market conditions and development costs, Microsoft is staying rather vague about suddenly raising their prices for so many Xbox products. It's possibly related to the new Trump administration tariffs in the US because they led to Switch 2 pre-order delays and speculations about a price increase for the upcoming system. Nintendo, however, has stuck to the original $450 price point for now. Microsoft just did reveal a net income of $25.8 billion for its latest financial quarter, up 18% over last year. So, here we are. 5 years later, and Series X costs more than it did when it came out.
It is crazy. I just don't understand why. I mean, they're telling us why, but at the same time, it's still unfathomable knowing how far this console is in the generation.
It's almost done.
Yeah.
We only got, 2 more years, I think they said, and then they're going to move on to whatever the next Xbox is. This Series X at this point should be like $300. Real talk. And then maybe I say maybe $350, and then Series S should be like $150 at this point. But I don't know. But you know what though? None of these consoles have had price reductions. They've only gone up because PlayStation went up first, and then they went up in other countries, and now everybody's gone up because of the tariff. I don't know.
I personally think they're using that as an excuse. To be honest.
I think so too.
I'm pessimistic about the corporate way things go, because they were gonna do it anyway. You know, like the game's already heading that direction. $70. You know, and people like to point their fingers at Nintendo for starting the avalanche that this is, but I don't think that has anything to do with it because they've had been in talks about this for months already to even get this going.
Right.
You know, it doesn't happen overnight or within a few weeks even. So
I will say I do think Nintendo is genuinely, their increases are genuinely because of the tariffs. And the only reason I say that is because they were willing to delay the pre-orders for their system to kind of wait out and see exactly what these tariffs were going to shake out to be. If it was just a for-profit price increase, they would have just moved forward with it regardless. So that's why I'm trying to. I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. And I think you're right about Xbox though. I think they saw an opportunity because they were like, Nintendo put them up. Let's just put ours up and say the same thing. Even though we made $28 billion last year. But you know what? Tariffs and development. It's always those two.
I mean, if you think about the past and it's the inflation of everything, games were pretty expensive in the 90s, but like even today when they're like our economy is as bad as it is or whatever, it's not gonna really sit well with anybody. Like, no. Even factoring in the past, you know?
Well, the thing about a lot of people like to bring up games in the 90s and the 80s, they were like, you know, $90, $100, you know, so on and so forth. And they were. Nobody is Nobody's disputing that. But the thing about that is you're talking about these prices in a time where somebody working at McDonald's could buy a home. You know what I mean? Yeah. So you have to factor that in, right? Like now working at McDonald's isn't even going to get you a studio in the hood at this point. So with that being known, and with games being $80 is a totally different. There's no accounting for the wage gap, the increase that it should have been up until now. Now, if the average, wage was like $32 an hour, across the board, and games were $80, okay, that makes sense. Everybody is, it's doable if you want to do it, but it's nowhere near that. So I understand people's frustrations with the prices of games as of right now. I also will say though that I feel like gaming has always been known to be like a pretty pricey, like almost like a boutique hobby, where it's like, we know the components are costing a lot. We know that a lot goes into making them. We know that the just overall it's an expensive hobby. And I'm not saying that to justify it. I'm just saying that it is what it is. But yeah, I don't know. To spin it all back, I'm not surprised that Xbox did this. I think that this is probably the ceiling that they're going to reach for this generation. And I think $80 is probably going to be the ceiling for games going forward. I think companies know like this is already the ceiling, like this is pushing it for the average person. And if one of them were to go up, I think any further than this, you would definitely see like a legitimate level of backlash, and not just Twitter backlash of like, how Twitter is like 0.0005 of the customer base. I think you would see like everyday people be like, what's going on with this game being like $80, $90, $100?
Yeah.
So
it would be on the like news and stuff rather than
quite
just
literally
on Twitter.
would. Yeah. If a game, let me amend that. If a game that's not GTA 6 turned out to be $100, it'd be riot in the streets. GTA is literally the only exception to that. Like they can charge 100, 120, maybe and get away with it. I think GTA just has that kind of juice. They also know that they're going to be playing that game for like 10 years. So you put 120 down now, you got a guaranteed 10 years of use out of this game. So I think people are more willing to let that slide. But every game ain't GTA. So
exactly. GTA is one of those exceptions that just has such a perfect track record almost, where they've just been releasing banger after banger after banger. Red Dead Redemption 2, their last one was just way good. So like this is just gonna be the same probably.
Right. I think they're the only ones that could get away with it. But yeah, I'm not surprised, I guess, to sum it all up. And I don't know. We'll see what happens. We'll see where it goes. But I don't trust these corporations, unfortunately, to take whatever increases that these are and put them towards development. Maybe they're just going to put them in their pocket, but we'll have to see.
Yeah.
All right. Moving on to our last story. Switching it up quite literally. Man, look, I'm on fire with the segues tonight.
Hell yeah. Easy claps.
You know what I mean? Our last story comes from thegamer.com, and it says Nintendo says Mario Kart World and Donkey Kong Bonanza could not be realized on the original Switch. And this article was written by George Foster, and it reads, Nintendo President Shuntaro Furukawa has responded to claims that the Switch 2 isn't innovative and claimed that Donkey Kong Bonanza and Mario Kart World simply weren't possible on the original Switch. Ever since the Nintendo Switch 2 was finally announced earlier this year and then shown off in a dedicated direct, there's been one big discussion taking all the oxygen in the room. Is the console and its games worth the high asking price? While the console itself does look like a big leap forward in power from the original Switch, many were expecting more innovation from Nintendo. That muted response has also been applied to Mario Kart World and Donkey Kong Bonanza, which most fans agree look great, but not like anything completely groundbreaking for Nintendo that couldn't be found on the Switch. As it turns out though, that isn't the case at all, and Nintendo thinks both games are only possible on the Switch too. Well, yeah, they have eyes, like I do, and you do. As pointed out by Nintendo Everything, Nintendo President Shintaro Furukawa recently addressed the claims that the Switch 2 and its games aren't as innovative as many were expecting during a financial results Q&A this week. Furukawa noted that over the years of developing the original Switch, developers needed more processing power and a stronger console to be able to propose new ways to play. This need for more power is exactly what Nintendo aimed to achieve with the Switch 2. Which leads Furukawa to note that Mario Kart World and Donkey Kong Bonanza have proposed new ways of playing that could not be released or realized on the Nintendo Switch. That's Nintendo speak for both games only being possible on the Switch's successor. Furukawa responded to the claims that the Switch 2 doesn't innovate enough on the original console, pointing out that while it may not look like it has changed much, the hardware and peripherals have been redesigned and filled with ingenuity. The president of Nintendo ended his statement by saying that they want to make the Switch 2 the new standard for Nintendo Switch overall. All right, man. You want to lead off on this one? Because I don't know. I don't see people. I don't know. Maybe we're not seeing the same thing, me and the average person.
I don't know. I think people are just comparing it to probably just the current generation PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X. You know, and people always do that with Nintendo. They're always behind, and it's dumb. It's just really dumb argument. But like I could see, like, just based on the trailers and all the stuff you could do with like the mouse and it's like the Switch couldn't have done the mouse. You know, that's really cool. Like I wasn't expecting that.
It's
really
nuts.
Neat. It's like you have your own little PC mouse now.
It is. Like think about, you could legitimately play shooters now. Like any company that comes out with, like, imagine like Call of Duty. You can mouse aim in Call of Duty on Switch, which is actually going to be a reality because they are supposed to be bringing COD to Nintendo. So we'll see how that shakes out.
And also they wouldn't have like announced Elden Ring or the Switch 2.
Elden Ring, you know what I mean? or the new FromSoft game that's supposed to be an exclusive.
Oh yeah, their exclusive one, which blew my mind too.
Nuts.
That looks sick.
Yeah, Bloodborne 2 in a different suit.
I was screaming Bloodborne 2 the whole time.
It's Bloodborne 2.
This can't be.
It's Bloodborne 2 that they can't actually call Bloodborne 2. We all know.
I know that what's it called? What's the name of the director from FromSoft again?
Oh, Miyazaki.
He did that on purpose. I already
100%. 100%.
So PlayStation ain't giving us a bone. We're gonna give it to Nintendo.
He said, "I'm gonna work blood into the title. You watch."
Yeah, for sure. It's so funny, but yeah.
Yeah, man. I don't know. I feel like I'm a little bit like insane, and I say that because just looking, like you said, at the trailers, you can see that there's literally no possible way that either of these games could run on the original Switch. The fact that you can be on a fully realized, fully rendered racetrack and then decide, you know what, I'm gonna go left, and then the entire open world opens up in real time and all the textures are loaded in and streamed in and you can see way off in the distance and go wherever you want to go. Your Switch would blow up trying to do that. Yeah. It barely
would be lagging really bad.
It barely hung together doing that in Breath of the Wild. So why would you think a cart going top speed where the textures and everything have to, stream in at super high speeds would be able to be done on something like the first Switch? It's not possible.
Exactly. It's just funny because like all their footage too wasn't laggy. It was all smooth.
No,
like,
it was buttery smooth.
every other trailer on the Switch 1, towards the end of it, everything was lagging, like in every trailer, and it was like, oh man.
It was the end days of the first Switch, man. They, you know what? God bless the developers. They did every trick in the book that they knew to get those games running, and I'm happy for them because now they got a good deal more muscle to play with. I think they said Switch 2 is like, in raw power numbers, I think they said like 2.5 times to 3 times more powerful than the original Switch, if I'm not mistaken. So that's a good, that's a very good chunk of power to play with. But yeah, even Mario Kart World, and then even Donkey Kong, which honestly, I'm more stoked for Donkey Kong than I am for Mario Kart. I mean, I'm stoked for both.
Same.
But
I'm the biggest Donkey Kong fan ever. I was crying on my reaction to it, like literally
brother,
tearing up.
You and me, we are on the same plane. I have been talking with Garrett for years. Ever since that rumor came out that Nintendo was working on a Donkey Kong game, I was like, fingers crossed. Let me set some bananas down in like a little seance circle to try to get it to come. And then when it finally happened, popped off tough. That game looks amazing. I love the new Donkey Kong design. I think it's fantastic. I love how expressive he is. I love just everything that was about that trailer was amazing to me. Like this is a Donkey Kong game that is going to put him on the same level as Mario in like the public's eyes.
It looks like Odyssey too. Like the Odyssey team did it. You know?
I think they for some reason Nintendo's weird about, you know, saying which team did what, but it makes sense because it makes sense why we didn't get an Odyssey 2 because they were working on this. So
yeah.
But yeah, no, this game looks amazing. And then to you know, funnel it back into the article, there's no way this game was going to be on the first Switch.
Yeah.
You have all those particle effects happening at the same time of him busting up the ground, him going from above ground to underground in the matter of seconds. And then I think I'm not sure, but I think this is rendering at like, I think they said like 1440, somewhere around there. So that's a resolution the first Switch couldn't even do in the first place.
Yeah.
So to have all that happening and then have it happening at basically, I think 60, no way. And mind you, these two games are the first two out of the gate. So this is going to be the worst that Switch 2 games are going to look. And I say that knowing how amazing these games are looking right now. So I think people understand what I'm saying when I say that. This is the worst Switch games are going to look. They are only going to get better looking and better running from here. Metroid.
Have you seen the Nintendo Day app, by the way?
Yeah.
They show off like mini clips of those games, like Bonanza. You were saying the particle effects earlier. They stop it in photo mode, and like you could see them like do the whole like 360 around DK, and you could see. Yeah, it just reminded me of that when you mentioned the particles.
Tasokio in the chat says both games better have Diddy Kong. I would be you know what? I think Diddy is probably going to be in Mario Kart. Honestly, I think they're trying to phase Diddy out because he's technically a rare character. So I could see him not being in Bonanza. I
have a counter to that.
Hit me.
I think he will because from the trailer, I've looked into this in slow motion and like really dissected everything because I'm crazy. Mm-hmm. And there's a big chance the Kremlings are coming back because the creatures that are like in it have like rock faces carved out that are crocodile, and when you break them, you see crocodile skeleton in gold. And I'm like, really? Oh man, yeah, it's crazy. But that makes me think they are representing the rare stuff still, because why would they bring the Kremlin, like crocodiles, back in general in like imagery? You know,
that is a fantastic point. I am more than happy to be wrong in this instance. Yeah, I would love for Kremlings to be, you know, to return in this one. I guess we'll have to wait
There's
and see.
There's a whole theory on it. Like I'll only mention a little bit of it, but it's supposed to be about the journey to the west
In DK
and
form.
DK is
Okay.
it has some elements here and there that kind of like make sense with that storyline. But if people want to look it up themselves, just look up DK the Bonanza theories, and it's like the main like thing people are talking about. So
The DK Bonanza theory.
yeah, K rule theory or like journey to the west theory.
Uncle Gamer says, as long as he has a special baby oil spill attack.
Oh no.
Oh no, wrong Diddy.
Oh no. I hope that's not the reason he's gone.
I think you're looking for the courthouse that's down the hall. I think that's where you're that's where that Diddy is that you're looking for. Yeah, man. No, I'm stoked to see, what Switch 2 is going to bring to the table. And I'm so excited for it because just knowing that this is the tip of the iceberg of what that console is going to be capable of. And I'm thinking about the discussions that'll be had in about 5 years time from now, when whatever new Zelda is going to come out and blow us all away and make us think, how did we play Breath of the Wild? Because it's going to do that. So yeah, I don't really have too much more to say outside of I'm excited for it.
Yeah, same here. I really want to get into it. Hopefully on time though. I don't know how easy it's going to be.
That's the other thing is like I feel like I didn't get a pre-order. I don't know if you did, but I feel like it's going to take a long time for these to come back in stock. Like if you didn't get it now, I would honestly say I would probably have, if you didn't get it now, I would say hunker down because you're probably going to be looking until about maybe August or September when they're comfortably in stores.
Yeah, if that. I actually signed up on Nintendo's website to get an email to be able to order one directly from them.
Same here.
So I don't know how long that's going to take either. Like it could be a couple months,
Yeah. My plan is I live about 30 minutes from San Francisco. And Nintendo is opening up a new store in San Francisco. So at some point, I'm going to be able to just walk into the Nintendo store and buy one and walk out. And
that's going to be wild.
Yeah. And then, whenever that day comes, that's going to be fine. I want to get the system from the store. The last system that I ever got or that I was part of purchasing from the actual manufacturer's like either site or store was the PS2. I went with my cousin when PS2 first came out, and we went to the Sony Metreon here in over in San Francisco, which used to be in it was like a big mall. And it was owned by Sony, and they had a PlayStation store in that mall. And we went to that PlayStation store and bought the PS2 from that store. So it was kind of like buying it direct from the source. So I kind of want to do that again. So I just want to be able to walk into the Nintendo store, buy a Switch 2, peace out. So I don't care how long that takes. If I get it, this year, cool. Next year, fine. The games ain't going nowhere. They'll be there. And I'll probably have a few stacked up by the time I do get one. So we'll see.
Buy the games ahead of time, waiting for the console.
I mean, I could. I wish I could because I'm a digital boy. But either way, they'll all still be there waiting on me. Yeah. So that wraps up our news stories for this episode. Now we are going to move on to our Patreon ad. Alrighty, this is the section of the show where we talk about our Patreon and all the cool things that we have going on. Our Patreon is a paid service that supports us in our endeavors to continue to create new and interesting content for you and exclusive content for our Patreon audience. Some of the benefits are that you get early access to the shows that we make, including the main Super Gamer Boys podcast, as well as exclusive shows like Super Gamer Book Club, where we go and play a game and we talk about it in a book club format, as well as a Super Later Boys, which I mentioned before earlier in the episode, where Garrett and I just kind of sit down and we talk about whatever we want, video games or not. All this can be found on our Patreon. It's only $1 a month to join, and you get access to all that stuff, all the past stuff that we've already recorded, and all the stuff that will be there upcoming is all going to be in that Patreon. So, I mean, $1 is a steal for the amount of content that you're going to get. And then there's also our store, which is sgbstore.com, where we have all our merch. We've got tons of stuff. We got coffee mugs, t-shirts, hoodies, swim trunks, all, mouse pads, blankets, you name it, we got it. And it's all there. Don't be afraid to stop by and pick up a shirt or pick up a hoodie. You know, it all helps and it all supports us and, you know, gets the word and awareness out. And even if, you know, you don't feel like, or you don't have the means to support us monetarily, that's totally fine too. Your presence is enough. All we'd ask is that you follow us on YouTube or subscribe to us on YouTube and Twitch. And don't forget that you get a free sub if you have Amazon Prime. You get a free Twitch sub that you can use on us, and it always supports the show directly. And we appreciate any and all support that you have. And that is our ad for the Patreon and everything that we have going on. Let's get back to the show. All right, Trooz, this is the part of the show where I get to ask, well, normally Garrett would ask both of us, but he is dead. He would ask, what you playing?
What am I playing, huh? Dang, that's a lot of games right now.
Let's just say, what have you been playing in the past week? Let's do that.
Okay. A lot of Halo mods. I did a bunch of Halo mods recently.
Really?
Those are really cool. Yeah, on Steam, they have Steam mod support for the workshop. Mm-hmm. And you can just go directly through Steam and find the mods and subscribe to them, and they just automatically download to your game. So I've been checking out some new ones that have been going around, and like for Halo 1, seeing like what could have been if they kept with the Halo 1 aesthetic. You know, like what if they released the game right after Halo 1, like in the year after, and how it would look or play, you know, adding upon it.
So it's Halo 2 that looks like Halo 1, kind of.
Well, it's not taking from Halo 2's story. It's like a completely original thing, you know? Yeah, they're like making their own storylines. They have their own voice acting, just their own geometry for levels, and they do everything, you know? It's crazy. Huh. So I was playing stuff like Mercury Rising is one of the mods I played. That one was all on Halo 1, and it was really cool. And
so would you liken it to more like an ODST or like a Reach, kind of like a side story, or do they view it as like a full-on series like entry? It's
like their own little take on what could have happened, I guess, because in Halo, that you still play as Master Chief from Halo 1.
Ah, okay.
And they talk to you like that, but it's like a whole new scenario. Like what if Chief went to this part of the ring, or like a different ring entirely, and there was this wildlife here and like different covenant. It's cool.
Right on.
Freshens up everything.
Not too shabby. I guess me myself, the only thing that I've been playing this past week, and it's kind of been more dabbling than playing, is when I have like a free moment here or there. I don't know if I mentioned it before, but I've been playing a little Golden Sun. Me and my Game Boy Advance, we've been getting pretty buddy. I've been taking it places with me, and when I have a free, moment here or there, I'll do a little grinding, a little leveling. and just kind of keep myself occupied for a little bit. And man, to this day, I don't know how they pulled off something as extraordinary as Golden Sun. It's just it's a phenomenal game, and for it to be on something like the Game Boy Advance, like Golden Sun would have been right at home on something like Super Nintendo, in my opinion. And that's saying something, because you got a heck of a lineup to compete with on Super Nintendo. So yeah, that's the only thing that I can think of that I've been consistently engaging with. But I try to get him where I try to get him where I fit in. So I'm not mad at myself for not playing nothing, but I didn't play zero. So yeah, anything else you want to add, or is that where the majority of your attention was for this week?
Well, I've been also trying something different with Elden Ring. I'm doing a new run of New Game Plus, and I'm calling it a Digimon themed run because I'm playing as a Digimon build.
Wait, break that down.
Yeah, it's so a Digimon build. Like, I tried it the first time, right, on my first run, but I had it like over time build it up because I didn't have everything. So it took forever to get my ideal build, and it was for a Digimon called Gaomon, a samurai dragon guy. I was using a lot of dragon arts and like a samurai sword. And with this run, I'm doing Bancho Leomon, which is a lion that just punches and kicks, and he has a big sword too. But yeah, I've been mainly just whooping with my fists and my kicks, beating all the bosses like that, and it's so funny.
That, honestly, I can see the appeal. I feel like there's a lot of moving parts that you have to juggle, but it's probably worth it in the end, right?
Yeah, it's just cool, like starting with a completely different thing you would have never thought to try. Like, I wouldn't have thought to be like, I'm just gonna go punch everything in Elden Ring, But with the New Game Plus, you're already pretty leveled up, and you have all you need, and you just go. So it's just really fun. It's like cathartic.
I need to give something to hands. I need to.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Pretty much.
I totally get it.
That first guy the horse guy in the beginning that kills everybody.
The tree sentinel?
Yeah, he didn't stand a chance. It took like a minute just to beat him down.
Gave him a couple of lefts and a couple of rights and went right down. I'm not mad at it.
I yell out, Bancho! That's great.
Uncle Gamer in the chat says, I have Expedition 33 looking at me from the desktop, but I keep going down YouTube rabbit holes instead of gaming. Hey, I totally get it. Most times these days, when I come home, I just kind of sit on the bed, you know what I mean, and just decompress. And I look at the game. Like right now, I have my little GameCube sitting on my dresser, and I'm like, I could boot something up, but also I could just kind of lay down, and some days I do, some days I don't, but you should never feel bad about not wanting to play something. There's a lot more going on than video games right now for everybody. So and games will be there. They'll be there when you're ready for them. So no hurry. Even if you don't get to Expedition 33 until next year, that's fine. It's still new to you, so don't feel bad about it. But yeah, so folks, we have reached the end of the show. Thank you all so much for hanging out with us for another episode of the Super Gamer Boys podcast. As always, we appreciate any and every form of support, whether that's listening, whether that's watching, whether it's both, whether it's telling a friend, buying merch, subscribing to the Patreon. It all helps the show, and it all helps us to continue to do what we love to do best, which is sitting around yapping about video games. Don't forget to reach out and support our Patreon or support us at sgbstore.com. Don't forget to review us on your podcasting platform of choice, because that all helps us reach the top of the top the cream of the crop, as Macho Man Randy Savage used to say. And of course, shout out to again to Jack Sriracha, Yate, and the man himself here, DJ Trooz, for allowing us to use our music. You can find them all on Spotify, and thankfully we bullied Trooz into putting his stuff on Apple Music, so you can find them there too. And so yeah, that'll do it. Where can the good people find us if they want to get in touch? You can find me any and everywhere at Homeboy. That's HOLMBOI. Trooz, where can the good people find you these days?
You could find me on Twitch at Trouser Schnauzer. It's kind of spelled weird, but and then on Blue Sky, which I've been on a lot. If you're on Blue Sky, I'm DJ Trooz at Trouser Schnauzer. So
a local celebrity over here, from what I've heard.
And then if you want to check out my music, I also have a Bandcamp, and I'm on Spotify, Apple Music. I'm on a bunch of stuff.
Perfect. Folks, again, thank you for hanging out with us. We will see you soon for what is the final episode of the main Super Gamer Boys podcast. You better be there, because it's probably going to be a doozy. Garrett is definitely going to cry, and I know you don't want to miss that, so please be there to take screenshots and videos to incriminate him with later. But other than that, thanks again for coming out and supporting us, and we will see you guys soon. Trouser, thank you so much for coming on and being a guest. We hope you had a fantastic time.
Yeah, it was a great time.
Absolutely, man. All right, you guys, we are out of here. Peace.